and tutorials as well as past papers for all subjects from grades 1 to 12. We place particular emphasis on maths and science subjects, and teachers can even use this tool to prepare their class lessons. There are no data charges. It is absolutely free. To quantify the impact of digitization, last year, November, during the final exams, in KZN alone, 185,000 children used the platform. Let me repeat that number. 185,000 children use the eSchool platform. Now, I want you to just put this into context. I'm sure many of us here have children, and we all send them for extra lessons, and we have to drive them to school, and we have to pick them up at odd hours and over the weekends. Can you imagine the logistics of taking 185,000 children to an extra lesson? Yet now they can do it sitting in their home. That's the power of digitization. I have an amazing story when I was based in Limpopo. There was a young boy named, we call him Max because of his age. We don't say his real name. He started using eSchool in grade 10. We quickly realized he was the highest user of eSchool in the province and made contact with him. He was using it between 4 to 6 hours per day. In grade 10, he was a D average student. He passed matric with a B aggregate. That's the power of using a support tool. I'm not saying it replaces teachers or replaces normal school, but as a support tool, which is why today in one province, 185,000 kids. Now, what about all those kids who today do not have connectivity or do not have access to a smartphone? What is happening to them? Why are we leaving them behind? Yeah. So to further enhance STEM industry subjects, we also focus on the girl child. We have an amazing program called Code Like a Girl. We take girl students from the grades 10 to 12. These are rural students who have never even probably touched a laptop in their lives. And in 1 week, we teach them to code, and we teach them to build a live website on the internet. That's phase 1. In phase 2, we teach them to code better, more in-depth, and even take a payment. Now you've got an online entrepreneur. Is it not possible for the next Takealot, Shein, Temu to come from rural KZN? What is stopping us? These tools gives us that opportunity. In phase 3, we give them a bursary and we bring them into our corporates. And hopefully we're going to create the next Vukani. Yeah? In KZN, we have done, in the last 7 years, we have trained 4,000 girl students in this program. Another program is our Youth Academy, and I'm building up to something here, guys. Is our Youth Academy. It's based here in Glenwood. We take kids who have left matric, did not manage to get into varsity or any other tertiary, and we start training them on ICT skills. We teach them Cisco, land management, hardware management, maintenance, and get them ready. And on average, we do 30 kids per year. And we realized that the scale is just not good enough. We are not getting to as many kids and giving as many kids the right skills. Because we all know of all the eligible kids who can get into a tertiary, almost 54% of them never make it after matric. Yeah? So what are they doing? This charter has large-scale ambitions. And I know that the numbers I'm quoting were just not good enough. So I would like to introduce you to the Vodacom Skills Hub. Please scan that QR code. I think we might also have some physical copies. I'm not sure. We'll bring it into the room just now. If you can't, maybe you've got an iPhone and it's not a good camera. Sorry for any of the iPhone lovers. I'm an iPhone lover myself. But please do scan this QR code. The courses that you will see, this is our Skills Hub. These courses you will see are 100% free, no fees. You will see when you scroll that page There are Microsoft courses, Amazon courses, machine learning courses, cybersecurity, cloud storage, Linux, and other coding capabilities. They're short, simple courses that give the practical skills that companies are looking for today. Our ambition is to support the KZN digital transformation strategy, and we want to get 1 million youth trained in the next 3 years. 1 million youth. So I encourage, this is the part where you clap, because if you're looking at that, it's an amazing. I encourage you all to send that link to as many youth as you possibly can, because we need to get our kids ready with the right skills. They do not need fancy degrees. They do not need to pay thousands of rands in fees. They need the right skills to be employed and to be entrepreneurs. Let me repeat the charter ambition again. It says, we therefore pledge to expand equitable access to digital infrastructure. Tick, it's done. It's getting done. Tools, we have the tools in the market. There's probably about 5.5 million smartphones just on the Vodacom network alone. We have about 1.8 million of the old phones, which we're actively working to try get off the network and swap them out for smartphones. So we know we're making a lot of success in terms of smartphone penetration. And services across KZN. So we know the platforms are ready. The platforms are live. It's not discussions and planning. It's ready now. The charter goes on to say, ensuring affordable broadband for all citizens. We are actively focusing to get down to 10 Rand a gig. So ladies and gentlemen, I know data pricing is always a discussion. Yeah? But in private sector, reinvestment is enormous. We can't deliver this without reinvestment. And you've got to run the right P&L in order to do it. KZN is a massive province. I spend R1 billion a year, R1 billion a year in reinvestment to grow our infrastructure, to modernize our infrastructure, to increase our infrastructure. We're sitting on 94,000 square meters of land. For us to get high-speed broadband, we have to get more fiber into the ground. This is where we need partnerships. We have only 50% of our sites currently, which is actually a great achievement actually, that are now on fiber. Only 50%, the rest on microwave. To put that into context for the non-techies in the room, if you take a marble and you put it through a hose pipe, you'll probably get away with it, yeah? And that's your 5 megabits per second, 7 megabits per second. But if you want 20 megabits per second per customer, you're taking a golf ball and you're trying to put it through a hose pipe. Doesn't work. You have to increase those pipes. You have to have fiber. So we're spending a lot of money. This year we're busy with Richmond, Underberg, Maritzburg. Very, very high demand for data in that area. It's a large scale. Just one project like that alone can cost you over 120 million rand. It's a lot to trench. So we spent R1 billion for the last 2 years. We're spending 800 million this year, and we'll probably spend at this rate again next year. We're just busy with budgeting now. We probably are the biggest investor in ICT infrastructure. Yeah. I'm making that point because, yes, while we have the conversation about the price of data is also required for reinvestment. But we have put in some really clever algorithms where, if those of you on prepaid, you dial 135 hash, or you go onto our website or onto our app, and you'll see customized offerings just based on your usage. And we will get to 10 Rand a gig next year. And we will even get cheaper as the years go. Prepaid fiber is a massive investment for us as well. Yeah? And you will see every single rural house in the next 10 years will have a high-speed fiber or fixed type connectivity. That much I can guarantee. It will be coming. Sorry, I just want to conclude with what the charter says. Empower women, yes, we are doing that. Youth, absolutely we're doing that. And marginalized groups with digital skills and opportunities they deserve, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, Vodacom is the journey partner to the digital transformation ambitions of this great province. I was born and bred in this province. I have a passion for it. I've worked all over, Gauteng, Cape Town, Limpopo. And I'm really glad to be back for the last 4 years. And I'm putting my heart and soul into this province to get it to the greatness that it once was. And the Premier is right. Digitization is the key. It is the key to unlock the issues of our past, because I meet amazing entrepreneurs and youth every day who have great ideas. We just need to give them the opportunity. We just need to give them the opportunity. So we are the journey partner to the digital transformation ambitions of this great province. We are not talking, we are not planning, we are taking action. The ambitions of the summit to the 2030 plan have started, and I thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you. I'm allowed to take questions.
There's going to be breakaway sessions, so I think Mr. Khan, you deserve another round of applause. And I heard you mention a bit of Limpopo, and you're talking about all the work you were doing. I was actually saying before you came that I'm seeing a lot of investments in the province, Limpopo, 500 million recently, and all the developments in terms of tech. And that's the strides that we want to see, the improvements. I mean, obviously we always favor KZN because it's where we're from, but any improvements in the country are always welcome, and they're marvelous. So thank you so much. And when you were standing here, I actually remembered that I haven't gone to my town to get my 60 minutes anytime. Well, I'm sure I'm not the only one who understands this, because why do I feel like I'm the only one who understands this? You guys don't go to Vodacom, your town, 60 minutes in. Ha ha ha. I feel so bad. All right, it's time now for us to have another session, and I'm going to welcome our panelists that are going to be talking about reimagining government, innovation, smart services, and future of work. I'd like to call on the moderator, first of all, Dr. Bethel Mutanga, who is a senior lecturer and researcher at the Mangosuthu University of Technology. Let's give Dr. Bethel a round of applause as he makes his way up. Thank you so much, Doctor. He's going to be our moderator for the session, so I'm going to hand over to him. And the panelists that are going to be joining him at the front, I'd like to welcome Mr. Lunga Mvinjelwa, who is a senior sales executive for AI Business Solutions, Microsoft. Thank you. You can clap. And then I'd like to welcome Mr. James Kamau Maina, who is a senior expert for the Sub-Saharan African Enterprise Data Center, as he comes forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Maina. You can give him a round of applause as well. And I'd also now like to welcome Mr. Pierre Schunroth, who's the head of R&D, CPSI, as he comes forward as well. And let's give him a round of applause. And it's now time for me to hand over to our moderator, Dr. Bethel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I just want to set the scene. I would request, thank you very much. Here we've got a picture of 4 people. Can you also see the 4 people? Huh? No, there are 4. There are 4 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 people. Okay, these people have got one thing in common. Not one thing. So many things in common actually. Can you guess just one thing that they have in common? Honestly, if you can figure out that one thing that these people have in common, 4 of them, and if you can see 3, there's something wrong with you. Okay, these 4 people that you see here have one thing in common. All of them are soldiers of the same nation. All of them. What separates them is time. One is the 1800s. Fast forward some 150 years. Now we have a female who is a soldier. Fast forward a few more years, we have this guy that we never thought is going to be a soldier one day, right? He's programming a drone, with drone operator, so he can fight from the comfort of his home. Now the fourth guy. We no longer need this guy because this weapon here can make decisions on its own and engage the enemy. So look how much we have moved from there to there to there to here. So the purpose of this session, we're trying to reimagine the future. So after this guy, what's coming next? Some time back, that was the real soldier, right? And fast forward 200 years after, this is the real guy, isn't it? And who would have ever imagined 200 years ago that a guy like this would be the main guy? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the future. And with me here, I have three gentlemen, and I wonder why we don't have a lady.
I think James can be the lady today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're trying to
I look that
reimagine
Yes.
the future. We're trying to reimagine government, innovation, smart cities, the future of work, right? And as an academic myself, I always want to start from the definition, right? So that we know we're talking the same thing. You know, we're saying the very same thing. I think the very first question that I'm going to pose to all of you, the panelists, is what's your definition of e-government or smart cities? What do you see? I think I'll start with Pierre, because you are from the government.
Good. It's good morning. No, it's good afternoon, everyone. I'm responsible for research and development at a small government center called the Center for Public Service Innovation. And our mandate is to entrench that culture of innovation and practice in the public sector. And obviously, digital transformation and e-government is one of the core elements of the innovation space at present. And for us, it's a very simple matter. It is, how do we leverage technology to the benefit of the public sector itself and to the benefit of citizens? And how does it transform service delivery? How does it transform and help us to be efficient and effective and engage with the public in a better way? And that's the basics of what we're trying to do.
Okay, thank you. I'll come to you, Lunga. Same question, and you can also, I think, introduce yourself in the
Sure.
process.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So good afternoon to everyone around. So my name is Lunga Mvinjelwa, as the moderators introduced me. So I'm part of Microsoft, but what I do at Microsoft is I go around government entities, provincial entities, municipalities, and I try to imagine and partner with them on how they can evolve the citizen experience, how they can evolve the employee experience, and how they can put up better services and just generally improve the service delivery to our citizens. And I do that usually through what we call the business applications at Microsoft. And that's infused by AI. But going back to your question, what is e-government and why do we even need e-government? I mean, it used to be, and I like the chart that you put in because it's an evolution through time. It used to be that government was sufficient to go to as a person. So as a citizen, you had a government building that you had to go to, a very physical structure that was defined to be the service where people are getting their services at. And through the evolution of time, through external things that are happening, Vodacom introducing connectivity, MTN introducing connectivity, it became imperative that government not only became a place to get services, but government to actually go to people and people to consume government services whenever they are, wherever they're at, and at whatever time. And in fact, that's where e-government services come from. So to better serve the communities that we have, without government closing, without government actually being just a building. So an actual government as a service. So that is actually the crux of e-government.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass on to James. And by the way, I use your product, your phone, yes,
Thank you, thank you.
for the past 25 years, just like Jacinta says.
That's great to hear. Okay, my name
I like
is
the 25
James
years.
Kamangmaina. I'm a senior expert for Sub-Saharan Africa. And we provide solutions to government to empower governments to, and enterprises through their digital transformation. And if I go to government, the way we look at it is that, and I like some of the phrases that have been used here, that government needs to be people-centric, so their kind of services need to be people-centric, and also proactive. And so we help governments to transform to that. And the way we do it is that we look at it from the point of device, pipe, and cloud. And I'll explain this in a short while. Where if you look at any transaction, you transact from a device. You need connectivity. We partner with, we provide equipment to MTN, Vodacom, other enterprises to provide that connectivity, whether it's from an office, whether it's from an individual, and so on. And then the platform is where the applications would be. So you have the data center infrastructure, and lately you also put an element of AI, yeah? So the way we look at it, the way we look at the future is that, for example, we have a lot of wearable devices that collect a lot of information. If you have a chronic condition, that information should be actually transmitted to the health department, or the health department should be able to have an access to that. And therefore, they can actually be able to, if there's a problem, then they can be able to be notified, and for example, an ambulance can be sent to you directly without any intervention. So the way we look at it is that the innovations need to be people-centric, proactive, and use all the technology that's available, especially with government. Use the technology that's available to be able to provide those proactive services. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I always want to go back to history, right?
Yes.
We've come a long way from agrarian revolution, first industrial, until 4IR, 5I, and so on and so forth, right? And if you analyze how Africans have been so much left behind or responding to these different things, you can see that we're not really coming to the party. If you look at the first industrial revolution, Africa was 60 years behind. When the first steam train was invented, it only got to the African soil 60 years later. Right? So we always behind. Right? So it speaks then to our preparedness to innovate, to quickly adopt new technologies, to adapt to new changes. So my next question would be, how prepared are we? What's the progress so far? Even from the government, we can talk about e-services and so on and so forth, right? But those things don't just happen in the offices. My grandmother, who is deep in the rural area, has to access those services and so on and so forth. So how prepared are we, Pierre?
If I may, can I take one step back before answering the question? Because if we look at the history of revolutions, of transformation, we are looking at a history that is an agenda that is not ours. And one of the biggest challenges that we have when we talk about the future of technology, the future of work, is that we make it from a context of an agenda that's not our own. And therefore, to be prepared means that we need to become futures literate. So when I hear the conversations around 4IR, I hear this phrase that can actually be changed into a political song, and we've all used it. AI, blockchain, big data, IoTs. And we've all been guilty of using that phrase. But it's a meaningless phrase because it just repeats the agenda of someone else who is again colonizing our technology space. And therefore our preparedness needs to be embedded in the understanding of our own future, the future of Google, or the future of China, or the future of the US, because the geopolitical interaction of technology and the future are more complex than we are thinking. So we need to prepare, and we are not prepared, in terms of skills, in terms of policy, in terms of the guardrails that's been talked about a lot, in terms of our ethical approach, in terms of the technology future that we as South Africans want, and that we as a province want, and then engage with the Microsoft, with the Huawei's, with academia, with countries on those terms. And that may be a completely different view of how we approach what skills we need for AI, for example, compared to what the technology push for is. And with all due respect to my fellow panelists.
Okay. James, I think I'll come to you because you guys are responsible. You're in the tech space where you do connectivity issues, right? How prepared are we to, in Africa, in South Africa as a whole, to roll out these services because we need connectivity?
Maybe I'll betray how long I've been in the industry, but if you look at the state of development about maybe 20, 30 years ago, it was actually measured on the number of landlines that you can be able to have in a certain country. But I think the way Africa embraced cell phones and leapfrogged actually a lot of other countries where today connectivity, especially to an individual, is actually through the cell phone. I think the gentleman from Vodacom has said we are approaching 50% of the devices being smartphones. In my view, Africa has actually started taking the lead in picking and choosing the solutions that are actually applicable to Africa, as opposed to just going with a general trend. And that's what we do as Huawei, that when we come to, let's say like KZN government, we look at what's actually applicable to you. There may be very many other types of solutions that are available there. But KZN is mainly a rural province. So the type of connectivity that is required is different. Probably where you need connectivity, power is not necessarily very stable. So you need stable power there. Yeah. You may need security may be an issue. So you may need also to have some kind of surveillance and some kind of security for the equipment itself. So the way we look at it is that we encourage or we work with our partners or our customers, who is governments and also enterprises, to actually create solutions that are applicable to their situation as opposed to just following the international trend. So the gap is closing, I may say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Lunga, I'll pose exactly the same question to you. Someone who's in the tech space.
Yes.
Yeah. How prepared are we, and what has Microsoft done to help us bridge this gap? Because government cannot do it alone.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. So the connectivity is key. Infrastructure is key. Infrastructure is the basis of any innovation, any transformational agenda. KZN is mainly a rural province. It's not, for instance, as you know, well developed as probably Gauteng. And we must deal with with KZN as way it is. Connectivity, like Vodacom, like MTN, is absolutely an imperative. At Microsoft, we're not only looking at the cloud, we are looking at how do we get to the cloud and how do we bring the information into the cloud. We've partnered up with, partners such as Airband, who are developing connectivity in the white space, in the white bands, where we are in underserved communities, not only in KZN, but also in Limpopo, in the Eastern Cape, deep Eastern Cape areas. And we've done this not only in South Africa, but in other parts of Africa as well, where we've utilized the white space to be able to be innovative and not wait for the mobile technology, but also utilize other bands in the connectivity spectrum to be able to carry information and to be able to bring service delivery to underserved communities. So it's not only just the traditional carriers that we are looking at Microsoft, it's the white spaces, it's utilizing parts of the band, of the frequency bands that have not traditionally been utilized. And that allows us to do things such as smart farming in really, really underserved communities where farms are and there's no connectivity.
Thank you. For us to roll out these technologies, these services, there's one key, fundamental thing that we have to talk about. Maybe I'm biased because I'm coming from higher education, which is the digital literacy. We had a research with my students a couple of months back. We went into the community of Umlazi. That's where MUT is. We're interviewing the youth who are not necessarily in university, unemployed youth, and we're asking them about AI, what they know. You'll be surprised by the level of, or the lack of it, lack of digital literacy amongst the youth, right? They don't even know what the true definition of AI, what AI can do. And that they actually think AI is actually artificial, it's actually intelligent. They don't even know that it's actually not intelligent because it's not conscious. That's why it can make mistakes and so on and so forth. It's just a system that understands the relationship between words and put probabilities between that relationship. Then it can come up with some nice story and you think it's conscious of what it's doing, right? They don't know all that. So as a result, the level of digital literacy will also affect how these technologies are going to be rolled out and how my grandmother who is deep in the rural area is going to be assisted.
Correct.
So in terms of inclusivity, I think education is a big thing. That's where the real digital divide is.
Yes.
So I'm going to come to you, Pierre. As a government department, you are supposed to digitize and modernize, but yet my grandmother down there is not yet there.
Yeah.
So if you're developing technologies and services and everything for my grandmother and my cousins and everyone else, do you think it's going to work? How far are we?
That is the difficult question, and I think that's the reason why us as an organization took a very deliberate choice in terms of bringing youth digital skills development into our annual program. And because of exactly that is, we've seen that digital literacy, and you are mentioning youth, you don't want to talk about public servants and the level of digital literacy amongst public servants. So the question is exactly as you are saying, if you digitize services, what about the citizen? So there's a unique opportunity for us to empower youth digital literacy as a conduit, as an entry level into communities, and then to develop that further. And we've seen beautiful programs, not only in South Africa, but across the continent where youth are taking the lead. We're working very closely with youngsters. I've been on a G20 tourism hackathon program where one of my colleagues was the lead mentor of the winning team. We've seen programs in schools like St. John's in Umtata where 200-300 young people come together over a long weekend doing labs around robotics, co-creation, website development, and so on. So there's an amazing movement that we may not be aware of amongst the youth, and they are not only the next public servants, they're also the conduits of digital transformation into the communities, and that's what excites me, to see that happening. So I'm actually very positive about this. We see, yes, tremendous youth digital illiteracy, but the power of young people are amazing to do this leapfrogging. And I think sometimes as policymakers, our biggest mistake is the assumption that we make that our youth are not capable. I think we must just start trusting them and start trusting them, engaging, because we hold back. We say, what about the digital divide? What about this? But inclusivity by design means that we build in those skills, that we build in the technology to actively bridge it, which is part of the pledge. And I think we just need to start trusting our young people that they can do the job and respect them for doing that.
Thank you. The reason why I brought that one up, I was listening to the startups pitching yesterday. Interesting. And there was one interesting project. I think it was from Tlaganipo, the paperless hospital, and I really enjoyed that. But then I said to myself, no, we need to digitize, and who goes to the hospital, especially the public hospital? Can they interact with these technologies and stuff like that? That's the reason why I was saying there could be nice proposal out there, but when it comes to applying them on the ground, it may be very difficult. I'll come to Microsoft. In terms of skills development, maybe you can share with us the progress thus far, because without those skills, honestly, we can build all we want.
Yes, absolutely. So around skills, I mean, Microsoft is embedded into the skills fabric of South Africa. We have extensive programs that are dealing with skills from an institutional perspective, but also skills that are geared towards youth development. So skilling that is within organizations such as governmental organizations, but also skilling that is outside of institutional organizations. So we just recently announced a great program around AI and our investment into AI, where we're going to be training a number of people in South Africa in not only utilizing AI, but also creating models that are embedded into the South African context. So I don't know if everyone knows, but there are local and regional contexts that are needed right now in how we create and how we interact with AI. To make that localized would be the perfect way for people in South Africa to be able to bring the agenda that Pierre is talking about and localize the agenda into South Africa when it comes to AI, so that we do not just adopt an agenda from an AI perspective that is from a first world agenda, but that is localized in South Africa. But to do that, we need the skills to be able to create the models that we need to both have the services that we want, and Microsoft is directly engaged in that skilling, which is a much more longer term thought about, okay, how do we bring the skills so that the local agenda is actually brought out into fruition.
Thank you. James, skills development, how far has your organization gone?
Yeah, so Huawei looks at it at two levels. Number one, Huawei itself has what we call Huawei ICT Academy. Yeah, so from tertiary level, whether it's at TVET level or universities of technology and first-year universities, we actually provide a platform where those students can actually learn about ICT We even partner with some universities to provide the equipment to actually be able to learn about ICT. General ICT, and of course, if they're certified with Huawei, then the better. The second level is that we also partner with a lot of provincial departments to provide smart education, smart classrooms, so that from that level, the students can actually be able to be familiar with digital skills. Yeah? Mainly, at the moment, it's mainly from high school level. Yeah? But also a lot of sitters, service sitters, they actually sponsor some classrooms in TVETs and all that, especially where it's related to the setter, the service that the sitter provides. So yes, so those two levels, Huawei ICT Academy, and also partnering with a lot of institutions for smart classroom and smart education solutions, yes.
Okay, no, thank you. I'm actually a beneficiary of your skills development program. Yes,
okay.
my PhD was funded by your company, actually.
Okay, good to hear.
But I still want my,
Yeah, it's fine, we can discuss
for
that
using your
yes.
product, I still want my reward.
Sure, sure.
So I'm going to put you on the spotlight, the three of you, and I'm going to write your answers here.
Okay.
Then I'll look for you 10 years later, right? Predict the future, 10 years from now. How do you see the government services and peer? And I'm going to write it down, okay?
And I just said earlier that we are notoriously bad at predicting the future. You just look at retro futures. The future is an environment where some things will still be the same. The core of who we are as human beings, of how we engage, would still be the same, but enhanced by technology. We would then be after the AI bubble burst, which means that AI has consolidated, because at the moment, the return on investment is bad. So we will see a maturity in the way that we use what is now emerging technologies, in terms of improving inclusivity, including access, and including our ability as public servants and as citizens to engage. What I do see is that we've eventually have that single window of entry for government, that the majority of our services are digital, that our government departments have transformed by nature. So our recruitment, who we have working, would be all digital workers, data workers, and with real-time service delivery models. So real-time policing, education where we monitor progress in real time, and where we engage with citizens in real time. So I hope that is generic enough for me to be tested in 10 years' time, when I'm on pension.
No, I was expecting specific examples. I wanted to quote you one day. But anyways, okay, Lunga, 10 years from now.
So maybe we can break that down into two kind of lenses. One is within government. So how will government be internally to itself? So I want to put my head on the block there, and I want to say that within government, there will be a blend, a hybrid way of working. There will be humans and there will be virtual government workers. There will be a blend between those two. Now, how and how much of that blend will be, it's up for discussion. So when I talk about the blend, I'm talking about Anissa, and Anissa having agents that are working for her. For Anissa to create the Western Cape or any other plan that she's creating for implementing digital transformation. Anissa, these agents work with her. And these agents will be part of the Western Cape government employ. So that's one way of thinking about how government internally will be structured. The other part is the prediction around the future of services within, or the future of IT within government. Right now, there's an IT central place within government that produces all the solutions, both the ones that within government and the ones that are externally consumed by the citizens. My prediction is that there will be less control that IT has and more solutions that are developed by the functions or the programs of government themselves. So there will be a democratization of solution building. So people in supply chain, in human resources, in different programs will be the custodians of themselves building the solutions because they are closer to the services themselves. That's prediction number 2. Outside of government, which is the transformation to citizens and the transformations of the products that government has, I'm pretty aligned with Peter in that we're going to see a much more co-creation, much more citizen founding and citizen embedment in the products that we put out to citizens. So they will come themselves and say, this is what we want. And we're going to co-create whether the channels or the products or the services that we are letting citizens consume.
James? 10 years from now.
Yeah, the problem with making predictions is that you assume that some of the decisions will be made, and I hope some of the decisions at the right levels will be made. But one thing I see is a situation where government services are very closely integrated. I'll give an example. So, for example, you have a child today. So that child in 6 years' time needs to go to school. At some point, you are interacting with the municipality. So the municipality knows your location. I mean, your resident. I mean, their physical address. Yeah. So why can't that be able to be mirrored with, for example, the Department of Education, so that at 6 years we know we have this number of kids in a certain area. These are the available positions in public schools or whatever. So the government can even prompt you to apply as opposed to you being able to apply. But again, and this is my prediction and hoping that that's what will happen. Also, I think I'll agree with my colleague here that there'll also be a lot of repetitive work that will be taken by AI. Yeah. So, for example, analyzing MRI images. Yeah. That's something that AI can actually do sometimes better than a human. Yeah. Of course, you still need override from a human being, but I also see AI doing a lot of some of the basic things that humans can actually make errors in, and therefore AI would actually be better off doing the job.
Thank you.
If I may add, in terms of prediction 2, it's already starting to happening. So I'm toning it down to 2 years horizon.
Okay.
So if you want to quote me on that one.
Okay, we're running out of time. I'm going to make my own prediction, and please write it down. You see me 10 years from now, you ask me, that is going to happen, definitely. So you quote me on this one. 10 years from now, not even 10, probably even 5, and I see less and less permanent jobs. We're going to have project-based jobs. You're only employed for a project, then you move employed elsewhere. And less of permanent jobs. We're going to have companies not hiring people on a permanent basis, but on a project-based. And it's going to constitute a very, very big percentage of the workforce. So, and what does it tell our youth? It's going to be more of what's required. It's not going to be your qualification, but it's going to be your skill. So your skill is the one that's going to take you from one project to the next. That's my prediction.
Yep.
And it's happening in 5 years, not even 10. It's coming now. So quote me on that one. Okay, thank you very much, the audience. It's
you.
been nice having you and my lovely panel here.
Thank you.
Pierre,
Thank
Lula,
you very
and
much.
James. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's give another round of applause to our panelists for today. Thank you so much to Dr. Bethel Mutanga, who was the moderator for the session, Mr. Lungam Vinjelwa, as well as Mr. James Kamau Maina, and Mr. Pierre Hunrod. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this enlightening session. It's now time for us to have our breakaway sessions. And these sessions are going to be held in the respective rooms on my right, I do believe. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you to please join whichever session you feel you would like. And they go as follows. So there's the digital infrastructure, connectivity, and integration session, which is facilitated by MTN. There's the digital skills, inclusion, and social empowerment session, which is facilitated by Microsoft. There's the cybersecurity, data governance, and ethical leadership, which is facilitated by Huawei. There's the public sector digitization, and smart service delivery facilitated by Telkom. Then there's the digital economy, innovation, and sector transformation, which is facilitated by Vodacom. So these sessions are going to be starting now. And soon as they are done, I'd like to kindly ask that we all come back here to receive our keynote address, as well as our closing remarks, and then we can proceed to have our lunch from there on. But the pictures, as promised, are already up. They will be uploading more and more as the day goes by. Just gonna ask for the QR code once again. But also, if you'd like to get any information regarding the programs for today and tomorrow as well, you can go to www.kznpidh. It's www.kznpidh.gov.za. We have updated the programs, so I think it's very important for you to know what the process is. So roundabout now, I'd like to give you this opportunity to please go and help yourself to whichever session you'd like, and we will come back and really just wrap it up afterwards. Thank you.